right. Hi, I'm Amy. Oh, you can't see me waving. Hi, I'm Amy Flaherty. I'm going to give like a little bit of lecture on alternative controllers for gaming or for music or whatever. So I'm going to go over some like basic information about circuitry. I use sensors to make it the controllers. I can bring over one of them. Let me see.
There's a lot of stuff being brought over to the table. I guess I'm going to be narrating here.
I was just going to show you some of my little controllers. Oh. So, can you hear me okay?
It's a little quiet.
Hello? Is it too loud? I can like talk louder too. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So here, this here is a posture wearable I made. So when you wear it, it sounds an alarm when you have bad posture. And I used flex sensors into it. I made my own flex sensors out of Velostat and neoprene. And it has one here on the neck too. I don't know if you can hear it. Let me see. So when I press on it, if my neck goes down low, like you can't see my neck, but if my neck bends down, it sounds an alarm. And if my back is too curved, it sounds an alarm. And it gives you a second to correct the behavior. And later on, I'm going to show you guys how to make a flex sensor out of duct tape in Velostat. Velostat's like just a material they make. They put like electronic bags and stuff made from it. So how do we do all this? I'm using an Arduino on here. All my Arduinos are sewn into projects, so I'm going to show you a little bit more on Raspberry Pi later. Oh yeah, and I have my which I have to plug in a lot of things for, so I'm going to show you that maybe a little bit later if you guys want. But I have my other Arduino here, and this one plays a different sound depending on which painting you pin on like on another painting on my face. Yeah. Oh, maybe I should plug it in now then. And this one, as you can see, has a shield on it. It's an e-textile again. So it's an Arduino on the bottom. And then over it has a wave shield from Adafruit. And I just used conductive thread for the rest of it. I probably would have done it differently if I'd done it today. So we can talk about that later. But let's see if I can turn. So we're going to talk about a couple of ways that you can make controllers at home. The first thing I want to talk about are the types of sensors that you can use. One of them, the first type is an analog sensor, an analog output sensor. And that's, they give you a range of output depending on like the voltage. So if it's a 5 volt, it'll give you a range from 0 to 5. And then the digital output, that's like either high or low. And I have some examples of digital output. That's like a button, a contact switch, a tilt sensor, a heart rate sensor, which I have too, a motion sensor, and things with a relay I have, and then an infrared, like in your remote. And then for analog, I have like it's like a potentiometer. It's like variable resistor, and I have like photocell or LDR, a sound detector, a flex or pressure sensor, a temperature gauge, an accelerometer, like in your phone. I don't have my phone with me, but when you tip your phone, it like turns the screen that has an accelerometer in it. The joystick's a variable resistor and like a distance sensor, The vibration can be either, I put. But,
How much do each of those cost?
they're cheap. You can buy them on, like, SparkFun or Adafruit, or mine are all from SaneSmart. I think my brother got me the kit. It's not that expensive. Like, they're, like, if you have them shipped individually, it's like $3 each or whatever, but if you buy a kit, they're less expensive. And this one too, like, this is a tilt sensor I got basically for free from a toy from the thrift store. A lot of these things you can get like piezos I find all the time. I don't have a piezo to show you. Do you both know what a piezo is? Yeah, okay. But I do have, you can get them out of headphones too and things. So, and then all this stuff, why should I care? Because if you have like digital, like if you're using Raspberry Pi, it only has digital pins. So if you want to use an analog sensor, you need an analog to digital converter. So that's something to think about. Or like if you're using them like in games as a controller, you have to think about what like kind of things the game engine can support, I guess. I know like some of them have plugins. Maybe do you know more? Like if Unity has like plugins or.
I know Construct has, or Game Maker has an Arduino, or it's either Construct or Game Maker has like an Arduino plugin.
Construct had one I looked up and it was like $50, which I feel like is like wonk wonk.
I know there are resources with Unity. At least there's a couple of people who actually programmed Arduino integration with Unity in their project as well.
Oh, cool.
It was not straightforward, is my understanding.
Yeah, I know like Arduino has, this was your question before, is it Ben? Sorry. Ben, yeah, about key press events. Like, I'm going to show you guys, maybe I'll do like a laser trip wire. Have you guys done that project? Like, you can use a photocell. It's not like you can't use one, but it's going to be a high or low output. You can't get the values in between and use it like Reed did over there with the like, thanks. Yeah, so I think like the problem is like reading those values, because that's like why you would want to use like a variable resistor like a photocell is. So the only thing I could think of, I'm going to get up, is the mouse here. I hacked this, but the only thing I could think of is the camera that you use for the laser, the like trackpad basically. Maybe you could connect. Has anyone done that? Have you done that before? Have you done it, Ben? Have you hacked into the camera on the mouse pad before? Oh, okay. Oh.
It's sort of hard to get into the camera. That's why I prefer working with Arduinos with USB support.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think like you can do similar things with like the camera to do, like if you wanted to like scroll up or down. That's the only thing I could think of where you can like integrate it easily into a game without like key press events. But I'll keep thinking about it and maybe I can post about it and see if I can find something. So Arduino, I think we talked a little bit about it. Arduino has digital and analog outputs. So if you want to do more of a physical game like this one, like where it's not hooked up to a computer, it doesn't have any graphics, you can make a game that's on a table, you know, and use it like that. And then Our third option is circuit bending or hacking, which is what I did here with the mouse and the keyboard. So this is our Bluetooth keyboard from 5 and below. And this is a mouse from the 90s, which I have circuit bent for, this one uses the arrow keys, basically. And I have my cheat sheets here. So when I opened up my 5 and below keyboard that has a Bluetooth, it came with this in it, which these are all the traces for the keyboard. And I don't have a piece of black paper, but there's traces on either side of it. And so what you can do, so I have my buttons here. I labeled some of them. I have my up arrow, my down arrow, and my left and right. I might have got those reversed. But what I had to do is trace them and figure out the pin code in reverse. So I followed the traces to the pins, which are up here. You see the pins are up here? And I figured out pins 8, 10, 11, 22, and 24 in some combination controlled the arrow keys. So I have pins 10 and 24. Do the right arrow. The left is 8 and 24. Down is 11 and 24. And up is 8 and 22. So, and these are all the traces that go in between. So 10, 0, 2, 5, 8, 1. It's a little bit buggy because sometimes when you're trying to play a game or something right now, I have to figure out a way to make it less chattery with the pins and back and forth. Do people know what chattering from a sensor? So like when a sensor is off, the value kind of, like if you were to connect your Arduino up to it, the value will kind of go up and down and kind of go back and forth, and that's called chattering. So should I try to hook this up now? I guess I'm going to talk a little bit more about. So circuit bending, this mouse is going to be much easier to solder to because the components are like big and the traces aren't painted. Whereas I brought this one from an old toy. This one's probably from, I would say 2005s maybe. This one has big components, like big resistors and capacitors. But we have our black blob of death here, which means we can't hack into the brain of the computer, whereas this one, our beastie, is still okay. And we can also hack into the camera. But I just hacked into the buttons, which you could do on either one of them. This one, I'll tilt it up. It's a little delicate. They're all the components are basically done by a machine, not by a person. The pins are all painted. I used conductive thread, which, Ben, that would be maybe a way to make yours a little bit more stable. Because what we think about if we're playing a game, we're going to pull on these things, right? So we got to make sure that this cannot get pulled and pull it out. If I'm only using conductive thread and I use Scotch tape. So we want to make sure that it can get pulled on. So we have to think about different ways. I soldered to the conductive thread. But it doesn't solder well. I don't know if there's developments in the conductive thread. Do you know if some of them are easier to solder to than others? But the conductive thread is more flexible than the wire, so it soldered easier to the, or it attached easier to the paint. And in the keyboard itself, these pins were held together with tension, not with soldering. So, But so why would we use something like this from Five and Below and not from the thrift store? This one has Bluetooth, which is also, you would need more parts to do it with Arduino. I think you can do it with they have Bluetooth modules and XB and all those things. So you can do it, and it would be more stable than this, but this was junk, so it depends on your budget, I would have to say. I just did this quickly, I didn't really purchase anything special for this class, so just so you know, I already had these, they do cost money, so if you can get something from the 90s, it's probably better. Let me see. Should we hook it up and see how it goes? I don't have any battery holders. Do people buy them? You buy battery holders? Usually?
I don't really use that type of...
Oh yeah, 3D printing, good, yeah. I know for the museum, it was always tough to print enough for class set, but for an individual, who do you use, Ben?
Well, I don't really use those types of batteries. I more use the lithium-ion batteries with a nice little charging board. You can, with a lot of toys that don't have the AA batteries, you can find them in a lot of those. I have a big collection.
So you get them from toys. So he probably uses something more like this. Do you see it? With my 9 volts, so I can just use the 9 volt with my Arduino. And also, I don't know about y'all, but I cannot solder to these batteries. I don't know what they put on them. Yeah, I've tried so many times because why can't you just solder a wire to it? It's metal. But the only thing I could think of that might be good, and it's in my notes too, I'll be right back.
Magnet?
Yeah. I thought maybe you could, for kids, you could just put the magnet on top of it, such. Because magnets, conduct electricity too. I know for, a school group, we used to use magnets that were, soldered or taped to wire so the kids could just snap them together. And, they have those snap-it circuits too. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, I'm trying to think of 3D printing would be the best thing probably. Do you know if Staples 3D prints too? No, in Boston they'll if you bring in a Tinkercad document, they'll 3D print it for you. What?
Libraries or 3D
nice.
printing.
Okay.
Public Library in Delmar, Bethlehem does it also.
Oh, good to know. Yeah. So that's also an option. If you don't know about Tinkercad, it's kind of like Scratch for 3D printing, I would say. And if you don't know what Scratch is very beginner. If you're first learning how to code, Scratch is a good option. I also maybe show you guys a little bit later. You can use sensors with Scratch. It's not the most dependable thing in the world, is what I've found. But so if you're just learning, I know Arduino has Scratch for it, and Raspberry Pi has Scratch that allows extensions. And I'm also going to be doing this backwards, so kind of bear with me with it. All right. So I have my code here. 8 and 24 goes left. Right? So when I do this, dinosaur turns to left. Nice. Yeah. So these are just wires. I'm using them as switches. It's the same as a button, basically. So, and then right, we have 10.
So you're holding ground, right? Are you holding ground at all, or how are you triggering the on?
Oh, the on, I did have a switch, but my switch came desoldered on the way over here.
But I mean, how are you, well, you're just doing a key press, so it's just the on or off.
Yeah, basically it's me hitting, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about that too, we want to be careful about frying our components on, I think we're pretty safe with Bluetooth USB, but I know like when I did like pickup mic projects, without a mixer, they can fry your jack. Yeah. So like if you're doing something like this guy here, like be careful about adding voltage, or you should measure it with a voltmeter. I did not do that. My computer's from 2011, so I do not care as much about it. Maybe you could get a little mixer for it, and then you would just have to worry about. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like if you got a little mixer for it, like I know like you would. If it blew one of the ports on the mixer, it wouldn't be as bad as blowing it on your computer, and that can happen. So, should we add our tilt switch? I have it right here. So I'm going to do a jump because we don't have to worry about the dinosaur running off the platform there. So in order to do jump, I look at my code here. It's pin 8 and pin 22. So 22 is our black wire here. And pin 8, right?
And so you just set up in Construct a game and then just said when key pressed and you just map the key to your basically what you figured out under there, the pin.
Yeah, I made the game first.
Yep.
And basically just mapped all the traces.
Cool.
What did I say it was? It's 8 and 20. So that's 22. And this is 8. I should have the numbers inside the box too. And then we're going to attach our tilt switch. I don't think that this is a diode or whatever. Oop, it wasn't jump. But you can see he's running along the ground. It's not a very sophisticated game, but you can see that the tilt switch is working, right? Yeah. Look at my hand, and he's running along the ground right there.
So with that tilt switch, there's just like a marble or something. There's like a conductive, and it just completes the circuit.
Yeah. So you can build your own tilt switch. Have you done that before, Ben? How would I build it with this, you think? I have a marble. It's basically like a magnet that's a marble. Yeah. So if we had a piece of wood and some nails, we could just hammer in some nails in a circle. Yeah, and then when we tilt the board, so that way, and that's what we were talking about before about durability, is we know nails aren't going to break. So it's like when we're thinking about things about that we want to be durable, like a tilt switch, if we wanted to be durable, we probably wouldn't use one of these mercury tilt switches, right? I can show it to you in a second as soon as I find it. Oh, here's a Magic Cup one. I don't know if you can see it, but here, probably not in the back. This is a tilt switch that has mercury in it. We probably wouldn't want to use this for anything that we were going to be shaking around or stepping on because as glass components. Do you see it? Do you see how when I tilt it, the mercury goes back and forth?
I don't think the stream is.
I see. Can you see it? I don't know if it'll focus on it. Wait, I'm not tall enough to put my hands behind it like they're doing on YouTube.
Me too.
Here, let's see. Can you let me see. Will it work? I think it's the focal length won't get it.
Yeah.
But trust me, there's a ball of mercury in there, and they kind of look like an incandescent light bulb with mercury in it and some wires. So when the drip of mercury falls, it senses the tilt.
Yeah, don't want that spilling.
Yeah. So and at let me see what time it is. Oh, we have plenty of time. But I can also hook up. What other sensors do you guys want to see? Is there any on the list that you want to see?
Are those all designed to work with whatever voltage you have? What do you have in the coin battery? Do you know how much you have there?
I have 3 volts.
Yeah.
That's not, some of these sensors are 3 volts and some of them are 5 volts.
Does it say it on them, or do you just kind of have to know what you're buying? Or like if somebody was buying sensors or hacking them out of toys, like, you know.
Out of toys, you're kind of like
just
out of luck with it. But this one has...
And Arduino will do three or five also, right? Is that sort of the ranges of things it accepts? Or will it do?
Arduino, let me look at the pins. I know Raspberry Pi. I'm kind of a Raspberry Pi girl.
Yeah.
So I know Raspberry Pi has 3 and 5
okay.
pins.
All right, maybe that's
it.
what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Arduino does too. This one's covered. Yeah, it's 3.3 and 5. I think most of them range. Sorry, at home I have it like favorited, but wherever you buy it from, if you buy the sensor, then it'll come with descriptions. They're a little bit cryptic though, so it's like, but you know about, and it's not gonna. I don't know where my site is, so like if you don't know much about electronics, then it's like gonna be kind of. Let me take a look. Sorry. Oh, here it is. So do you see like? If you scroll down, you can see all the sensors that come with my kit. You can take a look at that, Ben, too. But
so the documentation is pretty helpful in this case with these sensors, and they have that all mapped out there.
Yeah, I know. Like if you're a beginner, I would stick with Adafruit actually, because like they have tutorials, they have like a whole page of documentation. Like I know YouTube is very helpful too. Like I know like a lot of these like ones that do both. Like actually that one might be fun if I have a temperature gauge. Like I was doing this before we can like breathe on it. You know, like let me see. And like I have a clapping one too, like sound sensor. That one's a little bit. Oh, Hall sensor. You guys both know about them, but it senses magnets. Is there a better one? Oh yeah, is that one better? Yeah, let's see. Oh, this one, yeah. My keyboard. The reason I don't want to use the ones that require batteries is they were shorting out my keyboard, because when they make the pins for it, if you bring it over to the breadboard, it'll start typing zeros, and because a pin is used for multiple letters, so there's probably a way. The first thing I can think of is to have separate batteries for each key that you want to do. Oh, we can do a laser trigger. So right here, what I have is you see it? Yeah, this is the light detecting resistor, or LDR, right? That's what they call it, and sometimes in the like tutorials. It's a photocell too, is what I always was taught calling it. So you probably have to reset. Oh, I'm not used to. Before I had the. Oh, I can show you. Oh, I don't have a clicking one. All right, sorry. Technical difficulties. I'm a little bit of a scatterbrain if you guys haven't noticed, but. And we need my shield too. Because this is like what was up again? It was supposed to be 8 and 22. But that made it go left, right? Oh yeah, you don't want to switch back to the game? Yeah. All right, thank you. Yeah, I think it'll come up. It's just loading. Okay. Oh. Yeah, because so basically, I'll use my other LDR. That's so this one, because it has like a bulky kind of component with it, the shield's not working to shut out all the light. So because this is a variable resistor, we have to make sure that the values are 0 or 5, or high, low or high. So if you want to do laser trip wire, if I want to make this a component, I can turn it on and off. I can't see if it's going. Oh yeah, maybe. Did he fall off the... I'm trying to do... Oh, you know what? Maybe it's 11 and 24 more than. So, is he working? Not doing anything. Because I don't have the right pins on. Oh, he ran to the left, right? Oh. Is he going anywhere? Oh. How about now? Not doing anything. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Sorry. It's the whole reading things backwards thing. I know. I need to switch this one instead. You should be going the other way now. All right. So, it's not working. Sorry. Electronics are sometimes like this. Yep. And then, because he's at the end of the screen. I'm sorry. I did this with like a Word document before.
Yeah.
You see, I turned... Yeah. So it's like, I'll show you this on the Raspberry Pi too. It's like a little bit easier because it's hard to shut out all the lights on this one. Yeah. Maybe if you can restart it one more time. I'm thinking maybe my alligator's clips were touching a little bit. No?
I think it might be reversed. Because when you toggle the...
Oh yeah. Now he stopped. But I have this over it, and it's off.
Right, so if you do it, it'll switch it back on, will it?
Yeah, so I'm going to turn it on right now. You can't see the laser.
Yep.
He's not going
It's not going at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Let me tilt it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one maybe is easier to show you where it's like a computer program. But just so you guys know, or you know what, maybe I can do my pressure sensor instead. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So if there's any light, right?
Yeah, you would probably want something to interpret it, and like maybe an op amp and potentiometer setup, where if it passes a certain threshold, it will turn on.
I'm having trouble with these. It worked at home. Not working here. But, you made an op amp before. You've made op amps before?
Well, I've made op amp circuits, sort of.
Cool. That's like, I feel like that's not easy.
I can't, for some reason, I just can't make an op amp. Like, that's what I originally got them for. It just doesn't work.
Oh, I have the solution for you. I'm glad you came to the right person. Because I have made op amps before, and they have the habit of oscillating on their own and not amplifying the sound, right? An op amp op just stands for operational amp. It's like a little mini amp. And you have to basically, you get like a little chip, and you can solder things together so you can run your speaker, because like your little speaker won't go on its own. Like this guy, Arduino has, you can't see it because it's black. Arduino has an amplifier in it. But what I found was more useful when it comes to like amplification is to hack it. So what has amps in it? Toys that make sound?
I picked up this tiny speaker thing at the dollar store.
Yes, exactly.
But it didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work?
Well, actually, it sort of worked. I couldn't really tell because I was using a text-to-speech library, and those are a bit glitchy.
Oh, okay. You're using it for input, not for. I use them for output for like driving the speaker.
Yeah, I use it for driving a speaker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think too when you hack something, you have to think maybe it won't work, just because it's like you have to make sure it works before you hack, and then what I found that a lot of people are ditching are iPod, like those old ones where your iPod slides on top and it's the two speakers that look like a wall. Have you seen those before? Yeah. I find those at a lot of thrift stores, and they work rather well. And they're loud enough, like especially like I do e-textiles, so like the conductive thread can't carry much current. It is pretty resistive. I have tricks for that too, but I don't know. Are you guys interested? Or the but you can put like wind maybe 3 of the conductive threads together, or use roving and then do zigzag stitch over it. You don't have to use a single thread, and that way it'll carry more current.
You could also use transistors. So instead of having it pass the full current, you could have the transistor passing most of the current, and then you would only need a small amount of current actually flowing through the sensor.
Oh, nice. Yeah, good idea. Let's see. What should we do next? Let's see. You guys probably want to see my mouse, but I don't have a game that uses a mouse. Do you know one online that has like... I usually just test it in the like address bar to see if it clicks or right clicks. Like if you want to go over to that sensors page again on the front, we can see if it'll click on one of the pictures or something.
Maybe there's a couple of games.
Oh yeah.
There's starter games. I don't look for projects that, so long as your cursor is at the right spot, you can like eliminate blocks or play Angry Birds.
Oh yeah, Angry Birds would be a good one.
Step back. So we're going to see the mouse if we're in a browser tab. We're going to see the mouse move and flip.
You won't see. You have to move it with the trackpad because the camera I kind of disabled. It uses the lens. So, let's see. Do I have my just plain old button? I can't see what the game is doing. Is it clicking?
It is, yeah.
Yep. So, is that? I think this one's left. I don't always keep the best notes. This one's left clicking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, whoops. So this is just a regular button. You know, key. They call them key switch. That's like another thing too. Is like sometimes buttons are the best things. Like, and you can get really cool looking buttons like online, like arcade buttons. So like if you just want to make like, I'm kind of in it to make art. So like I want to make controllers so that I can make like sew something or paint something or like make a project that makes people think. Like I don't really want to like always have like you know whatever like something so sophisticated like temperature or whatever anyway. So like sometimes it's like or like something that I saw too was like the like coffee pot hack to make it, you know, like in the Internet of Things, you can just take the button apart and it takes really no effort to make a controller for your coffee pot, turn on coffee. You can bring it upstairs and like, you know, whatever.
I actually have been building this hot cocoa machine thing that uses the Internet of Things. So you can make a hot cocoa by pressing a button on your phone.
Nice. That's so cool. Does everyone know, is Internet of Things like a term that people know? Yes, okay. All right. I'm used to being with 4-year-olds. I don't know vocabulary, so. Is there anything, do you guys want to make, oh wait, I should show you the pressure sensor first. Let's move this aside. So this is my little pressure sensor. It's made of duct tape And, it's not much to look at. But, I'm gonna need some pens. So, yeah, thanks. So pressure sensor basically, like, well, I guess name's self-explanatory. When you press on it or when it flexes, that one's a little loose. I don't like it. But it'll output a different voltage. Oh, it's just going to click. Yeah, hopefully it'll click. But I'm trying to get my alligator clips untangled.
So if we had to simplify some of the things, you're using this Bluetooth keyboard as kind of like your portal to hook up all these different sensors to show what the sensors can do. But the Bluetooth is kind of like the entryway.
Yeah, this one is actually cord.
Oh, you're using the cord now. Okay, yeah, I see. Through the mouse.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
So, did he fall off already? I think Ben saw it work. Oh, he goes the wrong way. Maybe I just have to go.
I think I know why. The mouse over here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so try that.
Yeah. So, like, even though this is a variable resistor, this is like what I was trying to show with the laser. It still gives off a high output. Oh, it right-clicked, I think. But it still gives a high output if you press on it, like, not even that hard. You know, like, so do you guys, are you interested in making one? You want to make one?
I was interested in using a sound sensor.
Oh, you want to try that one? Okay.
See, that's probably good because it actually has a op amp built in.
Oh, yeah. Where did it go off to? Let's see if we can do this. I might have to get my breadboard for this, though.
So that pressure sensor you made that one that you just showed there?
Yep.
Using duct tape and...
This stuff called Velostat.
And is that just a high or low, on or off? Or could it be variable values?
It is variable.
It is.
So, yeah, for this one, for the posture wearable one, I just programmed a value. So...
So you say when it hits 47 or whatever, kick on, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So this is Velostat. It's like kind of looks like a black garbage bag. It's I ordered mine from Adafruit. It's inexpensive. And what I love about making my own pressure sensors, I wish I brought a commercial pressure sensor, but they're hard to solder to. Not that hard, but they have that the pins on the end are kind of held on more tactily than I would like. Again, for my boot project that I made, where it made like farting sounds when I walked in them, and I made an op amp for them and a Hex-Schmidt trigger. Have you done that? Hex-Schmidt trigger is just a basic oscillator. It'll give you a tone, think 440 square wave tone. And when I stepped on the pressure sensors, I had a low enough frequency where it sounded like,
60,
yeah.
low double digit.
I would use a 5.5 timers.
Oh, cool.
Laser pointer was.
It looks like someone is getting targeted. Wait, you wanted the sound. So let's see. So we got our little, and my low sensitivity one too, but this one is I don't know, if anyone had those lights when they were little, that when you clapped on them, the clapper, and the old lady would clap. But that's basically what this is.
So that's just an amplitude sensor. It's not sensing like any particular waveform. It's just a pressure of the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just senses decibels basically. And it does. Sorry, if you can hear me. It has an analog and a digital pin on it. Oh, look at that! So Ben here wanted to see the amplitude detector. That's kind of like the clapper. And here I have some Python code. If y'all know Python a little bit, I can explain a little bit about it, but I stole this code. I'm fine with that. I do know a little bit of Python, but it basically uses libraries that other people have written and calls them with like a function, and then but anyway, we're gonna see how it works. So here on this, Ben, do you want to read the side of it? Do you see what I have there? Look, read the pins. What do they say?
Analog 0, so I assume that's the analog output.
Yep, analog output. It's an O, not a 0 there. Yeah. There, you got it though.
And then ground, 5 volts or plus, and digital out. So
Yep.
that would probably be with the op amp
Yep.
instead of threshold.
So we're going to use our little relay. Wait, can you hold this for a second? Thanks. I just want to make sure I have it facing the right way.
So,
Do you know the pins on a Raspberry Pi a little bit?
not as well as Arduino, but
I have our pin
Sort of.
right here.
ah,
So I have this red one is 5 volts. There is a 3 volt one.
yep.
Oh. So Raspberry Pi has pins in it for physical computing, and they actually have a course that you can take online for free, which I took. And it's supposed to be for kids, but I feel like Ben here would get it. But I feel like it's a little bit hard for kids, I feel like. But so there I have pins. My code uses pin 4 right here, the 5 volt, and the ground. So if I go here, I can count over 4 and get my pin 4. Do you see the pins in there, Ben? Can you take a look?
Yep.
And then I have 2 over, I have my voltage. And then 3 over, I have my ground.
So you mentioned like with the clapper thing. So would there be a way in the code to make it latching? So you would turn it on, and then it would hold, and then turn off. You could probably do that in the code, or there's also physical latching.
Yeah. And you'll see a little bit how it works. There's like a potentiometer on the top. I'll show you how that works. So you can make it more or less sensitive.
Yeah.
And you can also do it with the code.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm like
Probably like an
getting
op amp.
confused. Let's see. So I have my digital pin. Here's the white one. So I got my digital pin. It's just hard to look at it backwards. I have my digital pin, and then next comes my voltage. And then comes the ground. Oh, I should have turned it the other way. But as you can see here, we have a little bit of a problem. Sorry, is that okay? I need my little screwdriver because you see this light here? Oh, thanks. This light here shows that it's sensing sound, right? Because I have a loud voice that it's picking up. If we be quiet, maybe it'll go off. Let's see. No, I need my little screwdriver because I need to adjust the sensitivity of that.
Make it less sensitive.
It's hard to see because my hand's in the way. But if I turn it to the right, do you see how the light went on?
Yeah.
And then when I turn it to the left, do you see how it went off?
And now if you speak, it will probably...
Yeah. So take a look at that light.
The light is turning on.
Yeah. So if we want to use my program, My program is basically a program that just says if it's, I did make a sound detection program that said sound detected alarm or something like this, but this one just tells you if it's, the output's high or low.
Yeah.
Um,
Good scenes right there.
so if you take a look at the screen,
Yep.
it's still going to give you a low output sometimes. Like right now, like there's a little bit of a sound, like my snap.
Yep.
So, and that's just something that's only with the sound thing.
Yeah.
So if you wanted it to always say sound detected, even if it was a low output, I put on my sound detection one quiet sound versus loud sound.
Keep saying-
Hello! Like that's like probably the best, like the clapping's what it's known for, but
Yeah.
And that's just like a digital on or off, right? Because that's the
Yeah.
digital input of the Pi
There's also an option to do analog.
yeah.
with a hat, right? Or with an additional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
with our,
there's-
on the Raspberry
Converter.
Pi, we'd have to use a converter. And I ordered one, but it got lost in the mail, so sorry.
there are no analog to digitals.
Yeah, I think that's one of the downsides, or one of the. It would be nice if there was analog on it, but
Yeah, it's not. There are a lot of tutorials on how to do the converter, and the converter is fairly cheap. It's $3, maybe closer to $4. And there's tutorials on how to use it, and it's really not that hard to get it going. Like, if that's what you're interested in, like, I feel like the Raspberry Pi has a lot of benefits in that you can make this its own game. You know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to make an arcade game or, like, a Game Boy type game, the Raspberry Pi has benefits in that it will accept, like, you can make your own screen. They have to kits to make your own screens.
There's a little connector right there, so you can plug it in.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I've never done that before, but like if it has like, or I have plugged it into my. Growing up, my mom had this TV from like whatever like the 90s. That's like an analog TV. Yeah. So it does like
CRT.
Yeah, so you can get a TV from the thrift store and just get the adapter for it, and you do have to modify the config code a little bit. And so that's a little bit of a pain, but like for retro gaming, I feel like it's a benefit. Here, I can hold it now. Sorry. So what else? Let me see. Is there any other sensors you guys want to see? And we can play with it. I like play with them afterwards too. Or if you want to make a little like flex sensor to bring home.
So, do you want to show the process used to make the pressure sensors?
Yeah, let's do that.
We are being handed duct tape, which I am sure you're seeing on stream right now.
All right.
Oh, I'll take one too.
We need 2 squares of duct tape each.
We are given 2 squares of duct tape each.
I have scissors.
this one gets cut up.
Yeah, just cut it. Right. So, and you can take like a piece of scissors and weight one so the sticky side's facing up. Did I throw away? Next thing we need to make pressure sensors is our conductive thread. This is just, if you don't know, like if you're not an e-textiles person, it's just like, it's made of metal, like metal roving, and they spin it into thread. Pretty cool. So we need 2 of these wires each, and just stick it in the middle of your duct tape. Like, stick it on each side. Yeah.
Yeah, I got mine. We got it.
Oh, you need 2 each.
Oh, you need 2 each.
Yeah, because it's sensing basically the like. Technically, it's a capacitor. If you know how to make a capacitor, Ben, have you done it before? This one's hard. Yes. What do you need? Tin foil on each side.
And then a separator.
Yeah.
Dielectric.
So this is our tin foil. Do you have 2 too, Ben? Oh, never mind then. So now we need our separator, as Ben said.
Dielectric.
which is our Velostat, which is the thing that looks like the black plastic garbage bag. Yeah, so you make it kind of like this. So it's not connecting all the way through, and you basically want two things that look like this. Yeah, so basically we want to put the 3 Velostat sheets on top of each other. So one's going to go against the duct tape on one side, one's going to go against the duct tape on the other side, and then we're going to put one in between. And I was saying before too, and I love these because you can twist them, you can step on them, I think they can get wet. No, they probably wouldn't work if they got wet. But if they got wet and then dried, they would probably still work. Oh, yeah, the wires are better if one's on one side and one's on the other. It'll still, be fine.
Should they be approximately lined up like this?
The wires, it doesn't matter. But it's just easier, if it's like this, it's easier to connect, alligator clips too. You know?
Hook it up and see what it does.
That's what I did for these guys, though. Do you see? I wish I have my video of it that we can see later. Oh, and it's these nuts. You see? So they're both on the top. It doesn't matter the function of it. But I made them from the top to this because I didn't want to make 1,000 wires going all the way back and up and down my shirt.
Just to make sure, am I doing this right on live?
Yeah.
Oh no.
No, duct tape's tricky. I usually put scissors, and then it should go together. And we can test them with my mouse or on the Raspberry Pi if you want. This one I made. If you have sewing skills, do you sew? No, you don't like sewing very much. Duct tape is just kind of simple because people know, how it works already without needing to know anything else. You can use hot glue, but instead of using the duct tape, you can use some fabric and hot glue it.
Yeah.
You can use, that's what I did with this. I did a blanket stitch around the side of it instead of hot glue. But this is a material called, why did I forget the material? I think it's for scuba suits. Neoprene, yeah. Yeah, and they print lots of patterns in it, and it works well for the pressure sensors because it gives you some feedback when you're pressing it. It feels squishy, so it's kind of nice that it feels squishy and that when you press on it. Whereas this, you don't need to press very hard, but it doesn't give you any feedback. What?
The other one has some wires.
Yeah. Let's see, I need my alligator clips for this, I think.
Do they give you an analog value?
They do give you an analog value, but because we're using the Raspberry Pi and not the Arduino, we're just going to use them as on and off. But yeah, you can use them
So what the components of this are slightly conducted, and that's what the process, or that's what the...
Yeah, I think I'm not an expert in it, but I know you can't use any bag like that. Those silvery bags don't work. You can use have you ever had a shipment and it comes with that sponge? You can use that. It's kind of pricier than this. But yeah, and then if you make one out of foil, like a capacitor, that project, what do you use to put in the middle of that one?
Something sort of similar to laminating sheets or something like that. But it sort of depends, those plastic sheets.
Yeah, plasticky sheets.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they use the same material, but they didn't tell you the word for it, which is Velostat. But oh, I'm already on YouTube. I was going to show you my video. Let's get these hooked up first. You can just take the pins out of the breadboard. Do you want to hook it up yourself, Ben? You can do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, he's going to hook it up himself. I trust you. Oh, you can just do these. They're female to male connected. Yeah. So that's the cord. And then what other one do you connect it to? Yeah. I think so, anyway. You have to run the program. So go to run with a mouse. Oh, it's over there. You can type it in too, but I just do run module. All right, now try to press on it. Oh, what's going on? Let's see. Let's do some troubleshooting. So we know mine works. So let's see if we can connect mine in the same way. Okay. And then if we have to remake yours, that's totally fine. Okay. So there's something wrong with the way it's connected.
Okay, so
why don't you connect it to ground instead? Connect it to the other one.
okay.
Oh, sorry. You've had to troubleshoot though. You know this is a part of programming. It worked when you first connected it.
You would probably, because if it's round.
Let's see. Oh, it is working. It's just the signal is kind of.
Yeah, because like pulling to ground.
Oh yes, exactly. You had it.
You would want to sort of like. You would probably want like ground, like if it was a 3-pin device, which it's not, you would have like ground on one side, 5 volts, so you would really want something in between, but we don't really have that, so we're just
we
going
have
to have
3.3 too.
True.
But we know it's working, right?
We know it works.
Yeah, it might be that.
So when you connect it, it will say low. So when you press it, it will say low.
Oh yeah. Maybe we have to restart that.
Maybe.
Electronics, man. We can try it with my mouse pad too, because I think that
That seemed to have more tolerance of this sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Because in 3, if I'm touching both of these, it should do it anyway, right?
That depends on the tolerance.
Yeah.
It was just
I
one
feel
high, so it's
Maybe-
keeps saying low. So if I connect this, oh, I know. Maybe because like if it's already low, no, because there's already 2 lows in a row right there. Weird.
I know. Let's see.
Let's try that.
Yeah, I think that might be.
seemed to be
it didn't
more.
work when you first hooked it up.
Huh.
Oh, yours is the best one.
Doesn't seem to be working.
I think too. I know online a lot of people do the conductive fabric because it has more contact. Yeah.
Better capacitor.
Yeah. But let's try it with the.
That seemed to work better.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. But let me see. And I feel like like sometimes with electronics, like. You just have to keep troubleshooting. They don't always work the first time, and
Definitely.
I know too. I'm not an expert. I just do things until they work, and I'm pretty persistent. So
See, with the keyboards thing, when I was doing the keyboard, I just pretty much, instead of tracing the pads, I pretty much just did trial and error.
oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Probably could have traced the pads, but oh,
Did it work?
it does
It
seem
did
to
work.
be clicking. So let's
Yeah,
yeah.
does work. Do you want to try yours?
Yeah. You want to hook that up for me, Bill? Yep.
Oh, you want to try yours?
Oh,
Yep. They're twisted a little bit. Oh, you got a little bit of a short circuit, but no big deal. It works though?
yeah.
Yeah, try it again. Oh, you have your game going.
Let's try this one.
Yeah.
Cool.
That seems to be working.
Cool.
Nice.
We just got to get it working with the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Sure.
You want to hook it up?
A dramatic exploration of a controller that I have created.
So hang on, you got a little bit of a short there. I think, yeah, we don't want those to touch. There you go. So those will stay separate.
There's a restart button right there.
Oh, I should know everything. Oh, it's not working because of
Oh,
Carol, click it.
Hold on, let me try it again. Right now.
We are trying to debug this.
Oh, wait. Do this. There it goes.
yep.
It's more fun to get the pig to slingshot.
So,
I thought
So, the
it
only
will.
thing is, yeah, you might have a little, you're definitely not touching right here.
Oh, are
Because
they?
you want to make sure.
Whoops! I may have goofed.
We could put a piece of tape in between them.
true,
But they might be on the
they might be
inside.
on the inside.
Well, I mean, yeah. I,
Peel it back
Did
and
we
see.
Yeah, I
sort
can-
of get it there? Yeah, they might be in. Yeah, they might be fused.
Kind of glitchy. That's probably why it wasn't working.
Well, technical difficulties, it's just the way things go. It's like, they're not going. But do you guys have any more questions or?
Oh, nice.
Oh, I didn't do the laser trip, but it works like with the Raspberry Pi, you have to connect it to a capacitor. 1K capacitor. I can give you guys a link to the tutorial, but it's a Raspberry Pi tutorial to do laser trip wire. They have a lot of like little tutorials, so you can just get to like learn the basics
Yeah,
of
their
it.
site's awesome.
Yeah.
all right. Anything else, Amy?
No. If nobody has any questions.
Thank you very much, Amy. I know that Chris was trying to enter in earlier, but in any case, I want to give Amy a round of applause, please. Thank you.
Oh,